Alrighty folks, I'm sorry about that. I was, my phone's going nuts. Somebody was talking to me on one of the posts about this video. Welcome to the show. Who have we got? We got Wayne, we got Chris, we got Tim. Welcome to the show. And speaking of Wayne and Tim, let me give a quick shout out to Reese, Wayne and Tim as well for being my Patreons. Without you and all of the rest of my Patreons, this show wouldn't happen. So thank you very much. And if you want to support the channel, I did put the link in the chat. I don't know where it shows up on you guys, where you are. I think if it's on that side, if you're full screen on a phone, it's over there. If you're watching on a computer, it's there or down there. So it could be anywhere in the chat. You can find the link in the chat to help support the channel. So please peruse that at your leisure. And don't forget, if you want to get your pictures shown, like Chilling Viking over there, and Reese with her Radio Dreadnought, is that how you say it? Don't forget to send me your pictures of any of your models to my Instagram or to my Facebook, and I'll save it. I'll pop it on my Instagram story, which is where these pictures come from, and then they get posted there. And then my computer just randomly decides which ones are going to be shown. So don't... what time do I call this? I know, I'm sorry. So don't forget, my computer will randomly choose some of the pictures that I have on the computer, and it will post them there for you to have a look at. So feel free to do that. And we're going to carry on with the lovely Canoness tonight. I have, unlike last week, I actually have a picture where I can see the back side of that model, and so we can actually paint her properly. So we'll get on with that. And one of my other announcements is, don't forget, you have until tomorrow-ish, preferably tonight, so that there's no time worries, to get some questions in for my questions and answers. And next Friday, I'll be doing it every month. So if I don't get around to doing your questions and so on, I can roll them over to the next month until they're all answered. But there will be a monthly hobby update, hobby chat, where do I want the channel to go, what's coming up in the future, and to answer any questions that people might have. So don't forget to get them, have a look for the video on YouTube, and get your comments in there if you want me to answer them. And if you're a Patreon, you can do the same thing on the Patreon chat or the Patreon page, and I'll get to those first, and then we'll go through any of the others. Is that it? I think that's it. That's all of my my spiel today, and I'm only 5 minutes late. Well, 3 minutes I think I was late to start with. So we'll get on with the Canoness tonight. Hopefully I've got the focus all right going on there. I haven't undone my palette today, so I'm not completely organised, even though I'm right. My phone was going off, and also, yeah, my phones went off. I'm trying to get all this organised, so let me get my white palette ready, because that is drying out. I haven't been able to fill that back up. Oi, there we are. So how is everybody else? Have you got anything on your bench? Are you going to be doing anything while you're watching tonight? Let us know. What's this? Just kidding. I had been able to watch by you. Set your watch by me. Yeah, almost. At least I can get the stream started. I just don't actually come on the stream at the right time. Alrighty then. So here we go. How is the focus looking on her? I think she's looking alright. Once we start getting some other colours on her, she should be alright to see easy enough. Alright. Somebody talking to me on my chat. Okie dokie. So what did we do last week? We managed to get the gold down. We did most of the highlights on the black. Certainly the shiny black. Looking at it now, it doesn't really look like I did a lot, so hopefully that's going to be alright once we do the rest of the model. So when I start today, I did have a look at the picture. There's a little bit of gold on that little fleur-de-lis there. Pop some gold on there, then we're going to wash the gold. We have silver to wash tonight, and then hopefully we'll get the red done. I'm thinking I might get the red done, and that will give us a really nice looking amount of paint there. We should start seeing the Canoness coming out from there. So we're going to get cracking straight on with it. No painting tonight, I'm afraid. I have an assignment for the OU due in tomorrow. You didn't leave it all until the last minute, did you? Alrighty then. Let's grab a little bit of this gold. Is there any on the palette? No, there's none on the palette. That's all dry because I left it too late. So we're going to pop in straight in with the gold. Yeah, I'm painting straight in with it tonight. Just like that. There we are. Nice and gently. I haven't touched this model in over a week. Well, since last week, so I forget just how small she is. So I've picked her up again. I've got my paintbrush next to her. I'm like, oh yeah, I've been painting bigger things this week. Much bigger things this week. Getting some videos finished. The Patreons are now able to see the entirety of the Blight Hauler playlist. That's all lovely and finished. If you follow me on Instagram, you'd have seen a picture of the finished model, and the videos will be released over some time. Time to pop off and post links on social media. You'll be back. Ah, fair enough. Thank you very much, Wayne. And no, just life got in the way and not much to do though. Well, that's fantastic. At least you ain't got much to do. I always left my assignments until far too late, and by which time it was then too late to be able to catch up with things. But never mind. Hey ho. Alright. So with that gold done, that's not going to take too long to dry. So I've picked up the old Reikland Flesh Shade. And we will give all of the gold that we've done on this lass a bit of a wash. If I can find the right paintbrush I want to use. And just pop some wash on all of this. We'll come back in and give her some highlights when the wash is dry. Try and be as neat as possible, because even though we've got black down here, the Reikland Flesh Shade will change the colour of the black. Black isn't invincible, so I've got to be careful with that. Clean up some of that. All done. Twitter and Facebook. Thank you very much, Wayne. My PR guy. And anybody else, if you do like what I do, feel free to smash the share button. Or don't smash it, just press it lightly. It all helps, you know, getting more people out there. Reach more people. You never know how many people on your friends list on Facebook as well. Maybe I get a lot of people saying, oh, I don't know anybody who plays Warhammer. You never know. Some of them might not play Warhammer because they're too worried about painting. And that's the thesis of my channel, is just show people that painting's not that difficult. You know, everything I do most of the time, the Thursday night project is a little bit different. Everything I do is all about getting a really good result for very little effort. Or at least I like to think it's a good result. So with most of my videos there are just lots of dry brushing and very simple painting. In fact, let me just grab something to show you guys that's coming up in video form at some point. There we go. Even expensive models like the Wolfkin of Russ. I mean, if you have a look, I mean, I will be doing some of this in dry brushing. These are for a commission. And yeah, a lot of this, I will do some of this in an airbrush. The markings are, you know, the different colours on their backs. But you will have some videos of these coming up in the future where, minus the airbrushing, majority of that you'll find it's just going to be base coating, washing and dry brushing. So, and I'll be getting all sorts of layers and textures and blends on these wolf pelts. So yeah, that's a little sneak peek coming up for you in the future. Hopefully I'll have them in video format at some point. Okie dokie, so I am going to wash the gauntlets. I never thought I'd say this, but it appears that my Winsor & Newton brushes are starting to fall apart. It looks like I may need to buy some more. That's not very helpful when I'm trying to save up for a new computer. May have to get postponed a little bit while we replace the brushes. Right, there we go, get a nice very light coating of non oil on these gauntlets. I don't want to go too heavy on them because they are very light in colour compared to when we get around to doing the bolt gun, which is going to be, you know, lead belcher based. I want to make sure we get really nice light colour, a light shading on here. We still got some gold to add to those as well. Excuse me. Oh dear, it seems like I feel like I haven't shifted that cough. It must have gone by now. Alright, so we're going to wait for some wash to dry. So while we're doing that, we're going to start adding a touch of colour to this model. And we will start by adding the red, and we'll do that with Mephiston Red. So, pop some of this on the old palette. Start back here. So this is why we didn't do the tabard on her back here, and this is why, because at the back here it's red, and if I ignored it, it would be a nightmare to paint this now. So once the red's done, I'll actually be able to glue the model together completely, and then it'll just be a case of finishing her off the rest of the way. And as you might see, it's not a very solid coat, which we'll come back and do that again in a minute. Very, very delicate work here. So small. Problem is, you get just a little bit of red on that black and it's going to stand out like a sore thumb. So any mistakes I make are going to have to be fixed. So here we go. Now we've got lots of fleur-de-lis down the bottom of there, bottom of the fabric as well. And they don't have the best amount of detail, so I need to try my best to pick out the right details here. Otherwise it'll look a little bit wrong. There we are. I hope you can see that all right. Also a red trim going right down the side of this side. There we are. That's the trim done, and then one final fleur-de-lis down here. Have we got a decent enough shot here? Can we bring that in? There we are. That's a bit better. Not sure what the video quality does when it gets zoomed in there. Very, very delicately, we're just painting in the red details. There we go. And then, it's taken me so long to do that, all of this is now dry around the back. So we can come in with another coat of red around the back, get that nice and solid. Like that, there we go. Marvellous. Just along the side there. There we are, large amounts there. That will do nicely. Alright. My brush is split in there, that's really not doing me any favours. Yeah, right. details on the on this model are so small that the resin hasn't really picked them out very well. So I do have a picture of the Canoness next to me, and I'm doing what I can to copy GW's design here on the side. Very difficult to see it. To start with, I thought they were crosses, but now I've come to realise that they're more like little house shapes. So they're not very easy to see at all. There we go. And then we have the same thing on the other side. This is where it's going to start getting difficult, because I'm going to try and get down in between the bolter and her leg. One could argue that that's why you don't paint her, why you don't put her together before you paint her. Lift the arm off. But, you know, I think we've done a reasonable enough job down there. That was easy. Can't really see it anyway. That's fine. And then we just do the same thing around her arm here. Fail cast, yeah. Although, having said that, I think they have dropped the fine cast range, haven't they? Any new resin that comes out is not. I did hear that some people were saying that that the GW resin that they use these days is much better than fine cast. Well, I nearly said fail cast again myself. And I think there is some truth to that, but quite frankly, I hate resin. I just don't like resin to work with. It's horrible. You know, I've got some resin models to do. You know, the walls, for argument's sake. And I've got some Tyranid resin models as well. And quite frankly, I just don't like them. I don't like working with resin at all. I just don't like the material. Well, I'm not a very big, I'm not a big Forge World customer either. Well, their quality control is one thing that, you know, I just don't like the material itself. It's not really the quality control that stops me from buying from them. It's the material they work with. Yeah, right. Got a bit over there. There's a very difficult to see line where the red is supposed to stop. So I'm going to have to come back in with some black on there. Very, very fine details indeed. Massively fine. You have a half-painted Emperor's Children in Failcast, and I think it's going to stay that way. Bent sword. It's a real shame because I love that model. Well, bent resin shouldn't be too much of an issue. Just heat it up and bend it back into shape. It's not too bad of a problem. But then, having said that, Gabriel Seth had a bent sword as well, and I just left it. I didn't feel the need to straighten it out. So maybe I can practice what I preach. But to be fair, I think I did try and bend Gabriel Seth's sword back, and it just wouldn't go. So I left it as well. It wasn't too bad for him. I mean, it's bent, but it doesn't look too bad out of shape. I have 2 or 3 marine characters to paint in resin, and I'm reluctant to paint them. Oh, you tried? There's an odd hole too. Yeah. I think we all come across these models that we kind of like the idea of, and then realise that you don't. Like a massive ton of Gene Seal Occultists I've got to do in front of me. It seemed like a really good idea at the time, and when I actually started to get into them, I realised just how much time it's going to take me to do it. Black isn't very good on this either, so I definitely am going to have to come back in with some black to tidy up that corner, and then to tidy up the flat bit there as well. On the whole, that's the red done. Seems to be shooting along what I needed to get done today. Well, I suppose we'll see how long it takes for me to highlight some of the gold. Oh dear. Now on the red, I'm not really sure what I'm going to do to wash that. I think I'm going to come in. I'll come in with Caribou Crimson to wash that, I think. But first of all, let's get the black sorted out. If we can't make them look a little bit nicer, especially on the flat bit here. I see brush marks in this, and it's not very well done at all. That's a bit better. And then come along and just tidy up the tidy up this line here. There we go, much better. There we go, right. brush is genuinely falling apart in front of my eyes. It's not doing so well today. So, now if I remember rightly, last week we just coated this in brown paint. So I need to throw some paint down on, throw some wash down on there, darken that up a bit before I give it a dry brush. We'll do that right at the end, I think, today. So let's come in with Caribou Crimson. Wargamer Viking, welcome to the show. Thank you very much for joining us. So, where did I put my big brush? So disorganized today. There we are. Ah. Right. Get that in there. See, the last few bits of fabric I have been doing, I've been trying to layer up to highlight them, but I'm not sure that's really going to work here. So I'm just going to highlight this in the usual way. I'm trying to practice my blending, but right. A little bit of red wash across all of this. Drop down there. Lovely. Bit of red on the black there, so I may have to come back in with some black later on. See what happens when that dries. Just about to paint a marine captain, a tad nervous about cloaks. Dry brushing is your friend when it comes to cloth, to be honest with you. If I grab one of these up, let me just bring this up here, move this out of the way just for a second. Bring up the what's it here, there we go, that's that, and then bring that into focus there. Dry brushing is your friend when it comes to cloaks, any type of cloth, and just base coating it, washing it, and then dry brushing it up a bit. That is my preferred way of doing cloth. I'm not sure if I've got any. I do have one. If you just bear with me just for a second. There we go. Look at that. Base coating and dry brushing, that's all that is. I find that a lot easier to get any kind of cloaking done, rather than spending a lot of time trying to highlight and you know, using layers and stuff. I mean, I am trying to do layers and blending and stuff, but it's going to take quite a while to get there. And the other thing as well is I've got another piece of cloth here as well. It is an orc tabard as well. Again, dry brushed, and then we turn around and look at his trousers as well. That didn't even get a dry brush. That just got washed. So trying to get away from dry brushing. Is there any specific reason as to why you want to get away from dry brushing? I often saw dry brushing as a newbie thing to do, something that you that doesn't take any skill, and it's what you do when you can't layer. And I realised that, you know, it's a technique just like any other painting technique, and it has its reasons and it has its uses. So unless you've got a specific reason as to why you want to not do it, it's a pretty valid way of doing it. Alright, so just bear with me a second. I'm going to do a massive amount of shaking. I want to use Auric Armor Gold now, and it's a metallic paint, so it needs a lot of shaking. Oh, jeez. Right, that should just about do it. Yeah, the noob reason, really. Yeah, fair enough. But one thing I've told my I tell my viewers is there's no such thing as a noob technique. Yeah, there's no such thing as you know, you only do it if you're a newbie, and once you learn something else, you stop doing it. Every technique has its reasons, you know, and has its uses and has its place. And by all means, yeah, try and learn new skills. But I like to tell people that, you know, there's no such thing as a noob way to paint. You just learn the skill that you need to learn, and you just get better at it, and then learn other skills that you can use in conjunction with them. So for argument's sake, if you wanted to do non-metallic metal, you're doing it for a reason. And you know, if you've got a reason to do it, if you like it, then fair enough. I, for one, I don't like non-metallic metal. It's just not my cup of tea, so I won't do it. But even on models that I'm trying my absolute hardest to make look as absolutely fantastic as possible and really push my skills as far as I could possibly push them, you'll still see me dry brushing sections of it, and you'll see me doing things that you would deem, you know, why don't you just blend that, or, you know, layer it. And it's like, well, I don't really want to. It's not really the effect I'm looking for. Edge highlighting gives you a little less of a trouble. Well, exactly. Different painting, different strokes for different folks, really. Edge highlighting for me on these Thursday night shows is where I can flex and do what I can and try and learn new things as well as showing you guys. Edge highlighting for me is a nightmare. I can't, it's so difficult for me to get nice results for edge highlighting. Doing this, what I'm doing right now, is picking out all of these details with the tip of my brush, is very, very difficult for me. And normally I just grab me GW starter brush that I've already trashed, dip it in some not Stormhouse Silver, sorry, the what is it, Sigmarite, and just dry brush her knee pad. And anything that's big enough to catch some paint will get highlighted, anything else won't. But you know, these Thursday night shows are about me trying new things that I can't normally do, because I'm painting other people's models, so I can't really practice things. and just generally push the boat out. So that's why I'm doing it the way I'm doing it. But yeah, I prefer to dry brush. It's quicker. It calms you down to edge highlight. Stresses me out sometimes. I just can't get the right line. Yeah, I get stressed out. I get stressed out quite easily though. And it's not that you're really good at it, you enjoy it. And I'm not in a hurry to get your models done. Well, I mean, that's, to be honest with you, that's the most important thing. You know, of all the, the things that I say about, it's not a noob thing, or it's not, you don't have to do it, or it's just as good to dry brush, and all that sort of thing. Yeah, if you enjoy it, that's the main thing. Painting shouldn't be a chore. I didn't get into commission painting just because I needed to pay the bills. It doesn't pay the bills. But, I enjoy painting, and however I do it, I'm enjoying it. And if you're not enjoying painting the way you're doing, for argument's sake, if you don't enjoy dry brushing, because you find it too difficult, or you just don't enjoy it, then don't do it. I think that I might find the same thing about things like non-metallic metal. I probably would find it far too stressful. Concentrating on the technique and the application of paint more than just getting on with painting and enjoying it. I think I would probably find that far too stressful. Painting this gold wing now. I must say though, I do enjoy painting wings when they work. Oh. A little bit like that. There we go. Yeah, I do like it when a wing comes together. You look at that and go, yeah, that's all right. I like that. I need to learn how to dry brush because sometimes it's just the effect you're looking for. Like your cloaks, awesome effect, and I think layering is too difficult for me now. Yeah, I mean that's kind of the point. I mean, I dry brush my cloaks, and I always have done. Because dry brushing by its very nature gives a very dusty look, and when you're doing things like fur or fabric and you're dry brushing it, you know, blending it with a really nice smooth blend, unless you're painting something like silk or satin or something that's supposed to be a smooth fabric, it can look a little unrealistic. And you can get some fantastic blends out with dry brushing as well. I've said plenty of times before, and I will do a video on doing it. In fact, actually the walls coming up are probably going to be a really good example of blending colours together with dry brushing. But we're moving along with this nicely. That reminds you, the last Blight Hauler vid was very awesome. Well, thank you very much. You do get to see them early. Yeah, I enjoyed that one. The last one in the series there, which is a bit of a take it or leave it kind of video. I think the next video to be released tomorrow at 6:30, I think. I think that might be a Gene Stealer video. Gene Stealer Aberrant, I think. Can't remember. I've got them all queued up on the old library, ready to go. I'll have to have a look. See what's being released tomorrow. I did miss last week, unfortunately, but we'll be back this week. There we go. So that's the Auric Armor Gold done. I don't know if it really shows up much on the model, but she is looking a bit more shinier. Going to learn some ideas from that one. Yeah, yeah, I did enjoy that one. You can see the finished model on the Instagram page and on my Facebook page, but the video will not be up for a few weeks. Those Gene Stealers are not your cup of tea. No, it's fine. Not every model is. And these ones. Oh, Gene Stealer Aberrants. Again, more dry brushing fabric on there, actually. More dry brush fabric. Just to bring home that point. There's some more here that look a little bit different. Lots of dry brush fabric going on there. I will be starting another video soon as well. The old Patriarch. Got lots of things coming up. I'm not going to spoil everything. I've got a Q&A. I've got a video to release next week about what's coming up. I'll tell you what, all now, you won't watch it in next week. Right. Oh, excuse me, that came out of nowhere. Right. So let's get the armor of her arm which is where one usually puts their armour. Silver, Vallejo Silver. What will be your next big thing after the Blight Hauler? I've got a few things coming up. I don't really think anything's particularly big in terms of video content. I mean, the Blight Hauler was a vehicle. But we've got some bits and pieces coming. Some things are more complicated than others. I didn't really think the Blight Hauler was that big of a deal, to be honest. Yeah, I'm not really sure. I've got some things happening. There's lots of videos planned. It's just a case of whether I can get them all done, because some of the videos I'm doing or some of the videos I plan to do were because of commission models. But then I realised that I'm spending a lot of time doing videos and not actually painting the commission stuff because videos take so long to do. So I may have to drop a few things off my plan. Just so that I can get the models done and out the door. So I'm not 100% sure exactly what's coming next. In terms of, you weren't thinking about size. No, that's not what I mean. I don't know if I have any, large or big deal projects coming up. In terms of, I don't know. I think it depends on what you think is a big project, because some people would find a Gene Stealer Patriarch is a big deal. Other people wouldn't give a monkeys, really. The YouTube life is a busy life. Unfortunately, on top of that, it's not just I can't afford to do YouTube full time. So I'm doing commissions as well. So and people don't want to be waiting too long for commissions to be done. Which ideally commissions would give me content. But if they take too long to do, then there's no point in doing the content with them. So it swings around that. No, I know what you mean by not size. It's just I don't know what would you class as a big project. Because like I said, some people would find that the Blight Hauler was a big deal, but some people would think, meh, it's not that big of a deal. And in terms of number of videos in a playlist, whether that's what a big project means, could be anything. You could make a guardsman into a really long, complicated playlist just by doing it really complicatedly. Yep, just made that word up. So it depends on what your viewpoint of what a big project is. As any project. Well, I've got plenty of projects planned. Like I said, that's what the video next week's going to be about. It's about letting people know what I've got on my eye. Got my eye on, something like that. Trying to get my words out now. I've got lots of ideas. It's just a case of getting them into process, getting them into action, but also being able to get the jobs done that I need to get done, so that I can actually deliver on everything I want to deliver on. You know, I'm looking at this model. I'm looking at the model on the website, the GW picture. There is more detail on the one that they've got in the picture. There's a better cast model in the picture than I've got here. I was asked that earlier, Chris. What's my favourite thing to paint? It's a question I'm going to have a think about, and that'll probably be ended up on the video. But is the viewer counter not working? Probably not. No, it's not. I'll sort that out in a minute. Yeah. So yeah, favourite thing to paint is quite a difficult one to think about, and so I will look at that in the future, and I will see if I can answer that in the video next week. I don't want to have the answer to that one being a half-assed lots of things, or come up with something that sounds like half an answer. Good conversation. What, me making up words? Okay, right. So what have we done so far? We've done the red. We've done the shading on the red. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to come in with, when I figure out which one it is I'm going to use. Where's Deca Red? Yeah, that'll do us nicely. Where's Deca Red? Yeah, a highlight going on the red. Slightly pink, this red, actually. Where's Deca Red? I hadn't noticed this before. I don't think I've really used it before, though. I can definitely see some pink in this red. So, here we go. What is the time? It's 7:30 already. I was about to say, I've been on it for an hour already, but I know some wise Alec will tell me not quite an hour yet. I was late. But let's give a highlight to the red that we've done. I think we've done pretty well tonight, actually. I did plan. What did I have planned? I said I'd do the gold. I did say I think I'd get some silver onto the gun, and we do have some time left. So there is still time to get that done. Actually and honestly, I didn't realise I was going to get highlighting done on the red, to be honest. I thought I'd be waiting for the rest of the episode for the wash to dry. So that's a bonus. Just going to come along with the highlights on these. I've been away from the screen for a bit. She looks amazing. Well, thank you very much, Wayne. I'll gradually add the highlight going down here. It would be nice actually if I can get the back of her dress attached to the model, or dress, the tabard thing. I can get that attached to the model by the end of the show. That means that going forward she'll be in one piece. I hate to leave that off of the model and then kind of get to the last show and realise that it's not been attached, and then technically I'll end up with the last show of her not actually being quite complete. Having to wait for the glue to dry. So if I can get that on there as soon as the last bit of the model's done, she's finished. Speaking of which, has anybody heard any news about the new Sisters being released yet? I was under the impression it was going to be at the end of this month, but it's like halfway through there and I haven't really heard anything extra. So I am curious as to whether anybody knows anything more, or whether the rumour mill has been churning anything. But we all know we need to be careful about the old rumour mill. The red built up there, and on this side of the cloak here. Yeah, lovely. And we also have the red here. Well, I did say I want to get this attached by the end of the show. I won't be able to. I ran out of super glue earlier today. That's a shame. Alright, I'll attach it at the beginning of next week's episode. Just remembered that. That's helpful. I'll B&M tomorrow and grab some super glue. There we go. So one stack of red there. It doesn't show up very well in terms of highlighting because of just how close it is to the Mephiston red. And also natural light actually helps to hide the fact that I'm highlighting it, because I'm highlighting it in the same place that the natural light highlights, which is helpful. But I'm also thinking that actually the final highlight is a really fine edge highlight. Let me see if I can squeeze out any more glue from my glue pots here. Can it be done? Can we squeeze out? Wait, yes, we can squeeze out a little bit. Right, okay, here we go. So add that to in there. See, the final highlight on the red is a really fine highlight, which only needs to be done onto the extreme edges where the light hits it most. So the bit that's hidden beneath her body is not going to have much light attached to it. So in theory, I can glue that on without it falling off. The unfortunate thing of gluing in sub-assemblies is that, you know, the glue, the paint does add some size, so it doesn't really fit perfectly. doing it on the camera as well. There we go. Alright, so now she is connected there. That means that the rest of the model is now just painting it until it's done. That's helpful. I didn't think that was going to go on. Right. Fire Dragon Bright. Really bright orange highlight now. Give that a good shake. Wow. That's been sat off for a while. Here we go. Right. Now we got to be very careful with this because it's so easy to overdo the final highlight. I think I was saying about this last week when I was doing the final highlight on the black. It's very easy to overdo it, and then you just turn into bright orange lines. So what I want to do is make sure I'm on the camera there. Just catch the edge there. That's about it. Yeah. And if I do the same thing at the other end, it's just ever so gently. There, that's it. I'll do for that, I think. And again here. And the bottom. Lovely. There we go. Ah, that's perfect. Right. I'm enjoying this now. Just on the edge there. Just mark out those corners. That's pretty much all I'm doing with the orange there. I think you just about see that coming through on the camera now. I know the resolution isn't fantastic. Digital zoom on the camera, unfortunately. It's one of the things that I'll plan on doing at some point in the future, is changing cameras like this, for rather than being, even though they are a full HD camera, it's only a little webcam. Change them for a DSL camera, where any zooming I need to do is an optical type zoom. These streams will be off the hook. No, tried that one on, didn't work. Won't say that again. That one didn't fit. Trying to raise my street cred a little bit. It didn't, yeah, it doesn't work. Right, there we are. With those corners, oh, get that. This really sharp angle here as it comes down here. Now, obviously, we'll highlight that the black here, but as it comes down and turns into red, we really need to make sure we get that there. Not much else. Might just come across here just a touch, just across there a little bit, but that really points out that corner there where the light comes down. That will hit that and give a good bit of shine, a little soft one there. And then as we come around here, like that, a little bit just here. If you're looking at the model, if you can see light hitting it, you know, it needs a highlight. There you go. Just a soft soft one there. What I could do actually is the old Warhammer TV approach. Just try and blend that through, but I don't think that's really going to work very well. No, it's not going to work, so I'm just going to leave it. There we go. We'll see how that looks like when it's done. Alright. So, we've got the gold. That's had most of its highlights done. We might add a little bit more of a highlight in the future. Done the reds. That's looking smart. We'll do the black highlights in the future. Well, so we got some bone, we got some parchment that we need to do. We got the bolt gun to do as well. So I'm going to do the bolt gun now, which will be lead belcher. We got about 15 minutes of the show left to go. Some of that hopefully will be my outro as well, so we'll get on with that in a few moments. We'll just do a couple of bits more before we wrap it up. Don't forget, even though I'm not finished this model yet and we've still got a few more weeks to go. Alright Tim, thank you for joining us. What I was saying is, if we've I might not have finished this model, we've still got a few weeks to go. It's never too early to get your suggestions in. These Thursdays are all about characters, and by the time I finish one model I also need to start the next one, and a lot of the named characters from Games Workshop are web store exclusive only, so I need time to be able to order some in. Sometimes I can occasionally pick them up from my friendly local gaming store, but on the whole I may have to order them in. So it's never too early to get your suggestions, your ideas about what you want to see in the future. Throw them in the chat, throw them in a message, send them to me. And as a general rule of thumb, whenever there's a short list or whenever I can't decide, or just in general, my patrons help me decide what the next project will be. This one was actually done by having a Patreon chat while I was on the way into town to pick her up, and I got to the store, had a look, see what was there, and I offered the Patreons what did they want to see, and they chose the Canoness. Majority rules, of course. So yeah, anybody can throw suggestions. You want to see a particular named character. We've had one suggestion from Chillin' Viking, wasn't it? Or Wargamer Viking, was about the old chapter master for the, was it chapter master or first Captain Cortez from Crimson Fist, which is a possibility at some point in the future, but it's an expensive model, so I will probably end up doing that as a kit bash, and that will be something that I might bash together. Excuse me, bash together for a video, rather than doing it for a Thursday show, and then when it's built, I might then do it on a Thursday night show. So that'll happen as and when it happens. But it's never too early to get in some suggestions. Throw some ideas down there about what characters you might want to see. Maybe it's Forge World characters you want to see. You know, it's a possibility. Although they are more expensive, so it might be a little bit longer before we get around to doing them. But the more suggestions I have coming in, the more I can see the direction in which people want to see the Thursday night show go. And also, bearing in mind, I am willing to paint anything, but I only have limited space. So if I ever do models, I said do. If I ever do models that I don't want to keep lying around because I haven't got the space, then I'll probably end up starting giving them away. So it's always worth getting some suggestions in. You never know. it could be the next giveaway model. And whether I've got suggestions or not, we keep creeping up on the old subscriber count. Once we hit 250, that will be the next subscriber giveaway. So get your friends in subscribing too. Alright, we're motoring now. You're calling me a child? You can't tell me you didn't giggle when I said doo-doo. It is your duty to chuckle at that. And I said duty. No, stop it. Dear. Right. Okay, so I tell you what I am going to do, right? We are wrapping up towards the end of the show. So what I'm going to do quickly now is I am going to throw down some colours on here so we can start seeing some of the other parts of the model popping out on the camera rather than some straight up undercoated parts of the model. So I'm not rushing, I'm just going to throw some colours down so we can start differentiating the different areas of the model. So what we got here, how many do I have at the minute? Do you know any subscribers? It's 131 last time I had a look. That is the last time I had a look. Honestly, I've no idea what it is exactly. Guilty, a little. Yes, I know. We all giggled. It's fine. Yeah, 131 subscribers, I think, was the last I checked. I don't have the screen up in front of me at the minute, so I'm not 100% sure. Right, so we've got some bone going on down here. Let's throw some colour down on here. That's fantastic. Yeah, we'll pick these colours out, but then obviously in later episodes we will do some washing and dry brushing and highlighting and all sorts of things. I mean, most of the bases get dry brushed because, quite frankly, there is no need to be spending time highlighting and layering a stack of bones on a base. It's not what they're there for. They're just there to add a bit of colour. So we'll also go over them again in a later episode, just to really bring out those colours. They're only base coated the once, and we all know how many thin coats we need to make. So I'm just going to pop on some details here. 131 sweet. It's 133 at the minute. Brilliant. That's fantastic. So we got a little over 100 subscribers to go. Now that does seem like a big way to go before I do my next subscriber giveaway, but I think it'll be fair. The next would be at 250. There will be a subscriber, and I've got a plan about how I want to do that one, and I think it will be quite interesting. So yeah. Alright, so there is the bone added to there. We need to rack our flesh as well. Actually, to be honest with you, I think I just added the wrong colour to that, actually. I wanted to do Zandri dust on that, not Ushabti bone. That's why I didn't go down very well. It's alright. I'll deal with that next time. Yeah, this brush is definitely falling apart. Let's have a look, see what we've got going on here. There we go. We have got some purity seals going on down here, like so. There we are. Much like that. There we go. The more you get out there, the better, mate. Networking is key, and you, of course. Absolutely. Yeah, I think I need to do, we were having a discussion on the old Patreon chat about having more networking done, so we'll see what we can do. But I think I am going to leave that there tonight. I think I've done some, with a little bit of a mistake. Actually, what I was going to do, just before I do go, is so that we don't have to wait for it to dry in a future episode, is I'm going to grab my Agro Surf Shade and a nice big brush. Where's my nice big brush that's not going to take the base apart with it? There we go. Oh, come out of here. There we go. Right, we're going to grab some Agro Surf Shade and just drop it down on the base here. Now, we already base coated it brown last week, and this isn't going to do much to that brown. Add a little bit of texture to it. And I know I just did the shaped bone on the skulls around the base here, but it's not going to be a problem. They're going to get dirty and they're going to get dried rushed. It'll be fine. There we are. Dump a load of wash on there. That'll be brilliant. There we go. And that will then dry over the next week before we do the next show. Because I am always worried about having wash drying on a show, because it has the tendency to be able to completely screw up a layer of paint that you might be adding to the layer above it, and then if you're doing that, it's just gonna make a mess, and it's horrible. So yeah, I think we're I'm happy with the way she's coming along. It's fantastic. I do like that. So I think it's just coming up for just about 8 o'clock now. So if anybody has any other things to say, anything to ask, now would be the time, because otherwise the show is ending. It's been fantastic. Don't forget to get your questions in. Find out the video for the Ask Me Anything video, and you can throw down some questions on there. We got plenty from a couple of the Patreons. They threw in some questions for me earlier on today. And we got some questions on that video, and anything I don't get around to answering, we'll just roll over to the next week, and next month I should say, and there'll be a bit of an update about what's coming, what kind of videos to look out for. I know Wayne wants to see some Poxwalkers, or at least a Poxwalker done. I did start, but I kind of dropped it, so I'll start again and I'll do it properly. So yeah, we got lots coming, and I'm quite interested in seeing what that is. And obviously, don't forget to send in some pictures. Send them to me on YouTube or on YouTube. Send them to me on Instagram or Facebook Messenger. Find it on the Facebook page. You might get to see your picture posted up on there. Other than that, it's been brilliant. Yeah, 1 or 2 questions. I got hammered by questions earlier on today. My patrons will get answered first, but I don't think I'll answer all of those questions tomorrow. Or next week, sorry. No, new videos tomorrow. It's just something new. So, excellent. A slap wrist about the Poxwalker. Yeah, I know. Yes, I know. I think the trouble is I changed the way that I was filming it, and so it wouldn't have worked out very well. And then it all went a little bit weird. So we'll get another Poxwalker done. Anywho, she is looking fantastic. I'm very much happy about that. Wayne, Chris, Tim, thank you very much for joining me. A Wargaming Viking popped in at one point as well. It's been fantastic to have you here this week. I'm going to go and probably do some filming now. So don't forget, thank you for joining me. Have a look at the social media. Don't forget to support the channel if you wish to. But have a look at those at your leisure. And I will say thank you for watching this one. Catch you in the next one. Alright? Ta-ra.